flat tax is one of two things. I want a flat tax. Not only does it actually level the playing field, there comes that principle, right? One rule of law that applies to everybody equally. But there's two reasons for that. It keeps more money in the pocket of Albertans. Now people go, oh, well, how is it that, the lower income people are going to pay the same amount of tax as the higher income? Well, we can set an established boundary for everybody. So let's say the first 60,000 of household income or individual income, whatever the number is, it's just theoretical. You throw that out there, and that is everybody's personal exemption. That is the same rule of law that applies to everybody equally. Now, interestingly enough, with a flat tax, what it does, the part that I'm probably most interested in, and Milton Friedman actually does a really good job of explaining this, in some of his old videos. If anybody's interested, go look that up. It's about removing political favor. So we see so much cronyism today and so much political corruption that goes on, and a lot of it is because government can actually pick and choose special interest groups, lobbyists, activists who they can offer special favor to. And taxes and or tax credit, tax exemptions, those types of things, subsidies, those are things that they actually utilize quite a bit in doing that. So for me, it's about leveling the playing field for everybody, putting more money and making life more affordable for every Albertan, making life easier to raise a family. Everybody talks about why aren't we having more kids, but nobody really asks why we aren't having more kids. And it's important to note that for a lot of our young generation coming up, not only do they feel defeated as far as they don't feel like they'll ever own a house or have the same things that you and I had the opportunity to own, but kids are expensive, and they just don't feel like they can afford to have a family. So, how do we make life more affordable? And if we need more people in this province, how about, we start right from ground zero and we encourage our young men and women to get together and at younger ages, and maybe the career is not as important as we've emphasized it to be if life is actually more affordable and people have more opportunity to engage in other activities. So flat tax is another one. We've also talked about the Alberta Pension Plan. Now, for a lot of people, many of you have actually seen me do my Alberta Pension Plan presentation. And the truth of the matter there is that Danielle Smith pretty much gave up speaking about it. They really boondoggled, I think, the way this was introduced, and then they completely boondoggled it by backing off and leaving this big gap for the NDP and the unions to fill with a bunch of lies, fears, and misconceptions. And I started traveling around the province to kind of help battle that, those fallacies that were being promoted, because a lot of people have this false sense of security around the Canada Pension Plan, and they think that, the story was Danielle Smith was going to steal your pension, which is an impossible task. I used to joke, like, where's she putting it, in her Panama bank account, overseas somewhere? It's like, let's be realistic. Now, management of that obviously is a concern, and we want to make sure that it was done properly, but she's now re-engaged a little bit more, and I think honestly, because of 1905 and some of the issues that we've brought forward, you're hearing her speak to some more of these issues again a little bit more frequently, because we are challenging her and pushing back. Public pressure is how you make change happen. And that is the only thing, in my opinion, that politicians actually respond to, is public pressure. They need to feel uncomfortable in their position, because when they feel comfortable, they're just going to go along, and leadership is not about following. It's not about getting in front of the parade. How many times have you heard Danielle Smith and other politicians find a good parade and get in front of it? Well, that's not really leadership. The leadership happened with the person or the individuals or the groups that actually created the parade. That is leadership. Getting in front of it and hijacking a parade, that's not leadership. And we're seeing that so much in politics today. People are only jumping on board when things become popular, not necessarily when they are the right time to do it. Why? Because it was the right thing to do.